Welcome everyone. Today we have our another new episode, and today we're going to discuss on the intelligence age. We have our world famous speaker, Professor David Smith and Mr. Jiri. First, I would like to give chance, Professor David Smith, how you want to define this topic, the intelligence is.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sharif. Very interesting topic is normal. Today, when you look at really what an intelligence edge is, today intelligence is no longer a department. It's no longer a capability. It's no longer, sorry, a data set or applications. It's became really a strategic terrain, a place where nations, companies, communities compete for an advantage and for an edge in what they're trying to do. So it really is a profound shift in how power is created, how businesses are grown and started, how education should be reforming, and how decisions are made. And it really carries a couple of different meanings which are really intertwined together. One is technology, one is geopolitical, and together they really define what we're going to be seeing during the rest of the 2020s and into the 2030s. So, across industries, intelligence is moving out of centralized clouds, corporate data centers, and moving towards the edge of the network, where data is actually created, sensors, vehicles, factories, clinics, communities. And so it's helping the world move towards real time results, real time data, where because of the decreased latency, you're going to be able to do real time decisions. I've always thought that when you look at what it takes to generate data in the field, collect it, send it back to a central computing facility, uh, analyze it, break it down, put it in storage, make meaning of it, and then send it back to the edge. That's not real time at all because of the amount of time it takes. I'll call it near real time, but that's what we're seeing as we see intelligence move to the edge. It's going to be powered by AI, machine learning, Internet of Things devices, and the growth of intelligent autonomous devices like robots and vehicles and others. And it's going to be growing very fast. Some of the industry figures say it's going to be growing at about 22% compound annual growth rate for the rest of this decade. So, what we see with this and why it really matters is moving to the intelligent edge is not an incremental upgrade. It's really a structural transformation of how we have to think, how we have to build, and how we have to execute. For example, autonomous vehicles cannot wait long enough for a cloud round trip to take action. Smart factories cannot pause production to ask a distant server what to do. In healthcare, you cannot delay alerts and data when a patient's life is at risk. So you see it's going. So it's going to change a lot of our business. It's going to change where decision making is distributed, where latency approaches zero, where systems can adapt in real time, where data sovereignty and corporate sovereignty becomes enforceable. And that's what we're seeing with now the dichotomy we're seeing in data centers, where you have some very large ones primarily building LLMs, but you're seeing smaller data centers because of data sovereignty, because of the Internet of Things that would reduce latency. And these have to transform to go in towards the future. And, you see it really in all different areas. You've seen this movement towards the intelligence edge in Department of Defense as an intelligence for a long, long time. But the unifying theme, I think, under your topic today, Dr. Sharif, is it's not just the intelligence edge, it's intelligence everywhere because it becomes distributed, because embedded, because it becomes real time, and it lets us inform. The advantages are going to go to those who can sense earlier, decide faster, understand it with greater clarity, and really be the ones who are the first mover and can act closer to the source of truth. And that's why it matters. It matters for nations, for companies, for cities, communities, for individuals. And so, to get started, Dr. Sharif, those are really some of my opening comments there. And it's a topic that I really enjoy, but it's going to be one that's transformational to all your listeners.
Mhm. Thank you. Didi, how you want to define this intelligence is, and what does the intelligence is mean in today's world, in your country?
Yes, thank you very much, Sharif, for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here also with Mr. David. I would like to greet you from the Czech Republic, where I started, where I am now currently. And also I started here my business journey before 30 years. 30 years ago in 1996, I remember I started my trade license back then. And since then, I have been interested in business, and namely in four different things, because I like people and I like English. So I have been teaching English. So I have been in the education, meeting many students, corporate students, not only, but also business students, teaching business English, and being very, very influenced by the TED Talks, which is TED.com. These are inspirational talks with the people from the whole world, where they, at the stage, they are telling some interesting experiences, and I use it for my lessons until today. So I'm educating myself and my students in this inspirational global talks. This is very interesting for me. And the second field which I'm interested in is business podcasting. I started this in the project for elderly people, where they would like to leave a message for their children, and then I transformed it to the CEOs who would like to leave a future message for their employees when they are where they will become 20 years later, very, very globally successful. So the message will be there. And so these podcastings and networking events, similar, like beautiful, nice events like you are doing, but a little bit different, I am doing globally. And I like meeting people there. So let's meet together and do these events. And last but not least, I'm building communities. I concentrate on the business communities. And I believe that people should share friendship together, and so on. So this is maybe not a direct answer to your questions, but a little bit greeting for the beginning from the Czech Republic, and I will tell later more.
Thank you. Professor David Smith, I want your detailed understanding. How does the intelligence become a competitive advantage for individual organization? When we introducing your white paper with my academic industries or my industries, we find this Technopolis and this things become very interesting. But if you define this things with our audience, maybe it will be more helpful for policymakers to integrate it, your white papers and all of the intellectual things.
No, Dr. Sharif, thank you. You've asked a multiple part question there. So let me try to uh, put it in a little bit context and then break it down and answer as we go with you. Intelligence is a very interesting part of your question there. And what is it? Um, and I have an answer that might surprise you. See, to me, intelligence starts with what I call the intelligence chain. You have to start with a sensor of some type. Our eyes are sensors, our ears are sensors. We have a lot of electronic sensors. But from the time you sense something, it then becomes data. We have to then take and transfer that data to information. We then have to take that information and turn it into knowledge, which is where you begin to really get to where intelligence happens. But from knowledge, you need to have the tools, whether yourself or technology-based tools, to turn it into knowledge, from knowledge to wisdom. And intelligence and wisdom doesn't mean anything if you don't take action. So really, that's the chain you have to go through from intelligence, from sensing to data to information to knowledge to wisdom to action. And that, to me, helps define part of the intelligence part of your question. But as you begin to take that part, we're in a world today that is really defined by complexity, velocity, variety. We have tons and tons of sources to get there. The volume is dramatically increasing, the velocity is dramatically increasing, but the ability to sense, to interpret, and to act faster, to move from information to knowledge to wisdom to action, that becomes the ultimate distinguishing point for people. So, we see there intelligence helps organizations make better and strategic decisions. It really lets you look at how you use things. Intelligence is no longer just information. It's the ability to turn that information into advantage faster than others can do. And it's part of it because we detect, again, shifts earlier. We understand patterns more deeply. We're able to, using our tools, digital twin scenarios and others, predict outcomes more accurately. And we can act with greater confidence in ourselves. And that's what we do as we look at intelligence like this. If you look in national security agencies of all type, they want to pursue an intelligence edge, the ability to outthink and outdecide adversaries. But for us in companies and other things, this can mean like entering the markets at the right time with the right product, pricing with precision, anticipating what our competitors are doing. I can use these tools to avoid strategic blind spots. For me as an individual, it's about making better decisions for myself, my family, better career decisions for my son. And with it, we reduce risk and we include the ability to see broader set of options for the future. We avoid costly mistakes. We can move faster when conditions change. And it helps us with our strategic positioning because we can see when demands are rising, when they're falling, when competitors are weak, where geopolitical activities are going to impact our markets, like what we're seeing globally today. And on the other side, this intelligence edge is going to help us accelerate learning and adaptation because part of the intelligence edge is group thinking. It's group learning. It's putting the ability to continuous update our understanding, and we can test this against real data. That's part of the genius of digital twin strategy, is how we're using them for us as individuals. It lets me pinpoint more of the skills I need to acquire. It allows strategic judgment. And, one of the things is being an IC squared fellow in the past, which was innovation, creativity, is that it enables more creativity. Innovation allows us to do things. The Sloan School said something last year, which I think is really interesting. They said, AI alone does not create sustainable advantage. Human creativity human group learning, human passions do. But as we take and collect this information, it really lets us build that at a speed of of being able to be sure of our decisions faster, understand it better, fewer errors, and it builds trust. And it helps us build competitive advantage. And as we do that, it lets us understand that even this intelligent edge helps us redefine the culture in our organizations because it gives us the tools, it gives us the faster reaction. And with that, we can spread it more across our organization. So, Dr. Sharif, I think that answers all your questions.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Mr. Jiri, how you want to respond this question? How does it intelligence become a competitive advantage for individual or for organizations?
I believe, first of all, I would like to follow up on Mr. David. Thank you for your insights. It was very interesting to listen to you. We are here meeting from I believe, from Texas, America, United States, from Bangladesh, from the Czech Republic. And it is very important that we are meeting and sharing knowledge together, three guys internationally. And this is what I would like to mention, that in today's world, online communities play a very vital role. And first of all, I would like to speak about the education, because my friend from Africa, from Kenya, he approached me and he said, listen, I got this class full of children here and they want to learn English. Can you do that? And I said, first of all, I was hesitant. And then I said, why not? And now I'm about to teach them remotely. Despite the internet problems there, this is possible sometimes. So using various platforms, like online platforms, using courses which are online pre-recorded for the children from the whole world, so that they can learn English, in my case, and they can use it for a better future. So this is my insights on intelligence. And in the world of turbulent times between wars today, I think it's very important education for children. I would like to just say that. So back to you,
Yeah.
Mr. Sharif.
Yeah, thank you. Professor David, my next question for you: what role does AI play in creating and widening the intelligence is? As you have AI company, how it's helpful for developing this infrastructure and everything?
Dr. Sharif, as I said in the last comments, AI is no longer just a tool that supports intelligence. It becomes part of what we have to do with our human capabilities. But AI has become a force multiplier that really expands the gap between those who can sense, who can understand, who can synthesize and act, and those who cannot. So you see that, since AI is moving closer to the source of data, it helps us enable real-time processing and decision making at the edge. But what's interesting is that I can make that edge anywhere in the world today and use that. So it's also compressing uh, even the distance that we can affect. So AI is compressing the time between when something is sensed and where something is acted upon, because you don't have to wait for the uh, data center or the cloud round trips. So, you see threats detected earlier, opportunities recognized faster, and decisions are made. I mentioned earlier how this is a topic that is in the national security ramps for countries. And so this is the difference between anticipating an attack and responding to one. And it's the same in business. It's the difference between anticipation, so leading a market, and responding, which is chasing a market. So we see that here. And what's interesting with your question, Dr. Sharif, on this one is it's not just creating or widening the intelligence gaps. it expands the scale and the depth of that intelligence, because most traditional intelligence systems are limited by a human's bandwidth, and AI can help remove that ceiling. It can analyze massive data streams continuously. It can help detect patterns that are difficult for humans to see. It can integrate signals from billions of devices. And one of the things that at least I haven't figured out how to do, it can operate 24 hours a day autonomously. Yeah, I still have to sleep, I still have to eat. And so that's some of the places where AI really helps. So it creates um, a superhuman situational awareness. And like I said, it decentralizes intelligence. It's no longer confirmed to the data center. It's now in sensors, vehicles, cameras, medical devices, robots, consumer electronics. You know, in my speeches in the past, I used to say, "Can you name me a device that takes power and costs more than $100 that does not have a chip in it?" Well, that's still very hard to answer today and find one which does not. So that is kind of seen as that it not only has chips in it today, it's connected to networks and it's intelligent. So you're seeing that it's shifting dramatically to the edges. We're doing this, and it's increasing the autonomy of our systems where they can, in many instances, act without human intervention, particularly in things like autonomous vehicle, critical infrastructure automation, uh, particularly with cybersecurity and data center automation, real-time healthcare monitoring, smart factory. It doesn't just provide insights in those instances, it takes action. And it lets us do things which operate at machine speed. So it helps increase and enhance cyber resiliency, operational continuity. Data sovereignty is a big one there. And that's why the new approaches to data centers, like we've been talking about, are becoming so important today, because nations and organizations today that have this type of intelligence edge gain strategic intelligence advantage over those who do not. You know, it's interesting that Dr. Sharif, that both of us who are on your panel today both do forecasting. And as a professional futurist, I've done it for a long time. But that is important part of answering your question on this one too, is it lets us forecast better. It lets us factor out errors and take more into account. It lets us predict anomalies. And those anomalies are where they cause challenges in the past, because it's called asymmetrical warfare in that domain. But you see the same type of asymmetrical effects in business, in government, as you do in those areas. And again, that's where the intelligent edge comes into play, Dr. Sharif. And I think the AI combined with digitalization, combined with the fact that we now can process all this stuff at the device, at the sensor, at the edge of cloud, it dramatically widens this intelligence edge you asked about.
Mhm. Excellent. Uh, Mr. Jiri, what's your thought about this question? What role does AI play creating and widening the intelligences?
Yes, first of all, I must say that now I will repeat something what has said David, because he said many interesting points. The AI possesses very big data at a speed that no human can match. Yes, this is a fact. And it helps us to see patterns, trends, and risks, and giving us better decision-making insight, yes, and faster decision-making insight. So it's but this already said David. This is actionable intelligence and helps us predict, and make smarter decisions for business, for everything, for education in my case. And also it anticipates the future outcomes, AI. And the least but not last, this reduces cognitive overload by prioritizing information and offering options. However, I would like to say that human judgment and ethics is still important, and the democracy is important. So to summarize my insight on this topic about AI, I would like to say that the true intelligence emerges from collaboration between AI and human, and the real advantage comes from how wisely humans use it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jiri. My next question for David Ral. Can intelligence alone guarantee success, or must it be paired with ethics, executions, and adaptability?
Well, Dr. Sharif, this question can go on for a long time or it could be relatively short. I think the short answer is no, intelligence alone cannot guarantee success. Intelligence is powerful asset, but as what he was just got saying, without ethics, without execution, without accountability, it becomes incomplete. And actually, in many instances, it also becomes even dangerous. Intelligence helps people access situations, make informed decisions, but it must be paired with discipline and understanding and the ability to be adaptable to what's going on. Leaders today must balance IQ with emotional intelligence. Uh, and IQ and emotional intelligence are very different. And intelligence alone doesn't drive that in there. And, even in the age of advanced intelligence and AI, we still have to build trust. We have to build accountability and we have to build judgment. And intelligence alone cannot provide those. And it has to have intent and effort. So, intelligence is potential. Execution, though, is the impact. So, once again, intelligence helps us understand the sensor and the data, see the patterns, uh, look at options, predict outcomes. But execution, that action we talked about in my first answer, is what turns this into results. History is full of many brilliant people and organizations who fail because they moved too slow. They overanalyzed. They never shipped product, for example. They never turned their ideas into operation. So that to me is the the bridge that answers your question for this, Dr. Sharif. And even the answer there is ethics determines whether intelligence creates trust, whether it creates dissonance, or whether it becomes a destructive element. And it's really what lets us transfer what we can gain through our intelligence into being legitimate. Um, and going back to the studies, I think it was either McKinsey or Harvard emphasized that AI cannot replace the human work of empathy, building trust, making tough calls, and holding people accountable. And that's what is really needed as we do this going forward. And so leadership requires more than intelligence. It requires all the things we just got through talking about, Dr. Sharif. So I think that is my answer to your question.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you. Ziri, what's your thought about uh, this question, like intelligence alone guarantee success?
Mhm, mhm. Yes, yes. This must be. We must use both intelligences, EQ and IQ, and this intellectual intelligence that gives us logic and analysis, problem-solving ability, and technical and academic skills, and EQ. Emotional intelligence gives us self-awareness and empathy, communication and collaboration, and leadership and ethical judgments. And when we can combine them and you use like words like adaptability, critical thinking, culture awareness, and ethical responsibility, then we balance this AI and human approach together, and I think it's a good. So that's all.
Thank you. Professor David Smith, my next question for you. How can developing countries or similar organizations build an intelligence is with limited resources?
Oh, wow. Um, yes, they can. But the intelligence edge for developing countries and small organizations is really built through focus. How do you leverage others? How do you form alliances? How do you use group intelligence and not brute force spending? So, as a high level strategy, you have to have focus. Pick a few things, not everything. Used open source tools, open source cloud, open source AI tools. Uh, help invest in some very good people that can understand that. And you need to look at the partnerships and the ecosystems, that group intelligence, and how do you plug into regional and global networks. Um, the data in this question, Sharif, is very important because oftentimes for the demographic you're talking about, the large language models do not give you good answers. So you need to build small, higher quality, well-governed data sets. And really, you, as a developing country, you need to focus more on your development priorities and not be generic catch up with biggers. Same thing with smaller firms. They need to look at really the operational pain points, the care abouts in their marketplaces and not broad transformational type things. And pick small things and get quick wins and build your intelligence edge there first. And like I said, use group intelligence, stand on other shoulders, and use those shared tools, those other things, particularly as you look at open source AI tools, open source machine learning. Look at some of the analytics and BIs that can be used there. Take advantage of data the governments collect around you. And really, you need to turn your weakness into scale in the demographics here, Dr. Sharif, and that you can make the strength in your collaboration with others because the small businesses, the small countries and things have some, in many instances, very common challenges. And so work together with others to do it. And uh, use smaller systems instead of the heavy stacks. You know, in your program last weekend, Dr. Sharif, you asked how can we bring things to the rural environment, and we talked about using the rural environment as test beds. It's the same thing here with the answer to this question, Dr. Sharif, is there are native advantages to doing it in developing countries and smaller organizations, but you have to do it deliberately. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Jiri, what you want to discuss about this response, like how emerging economy can utilize it?
Yes, yes. First, I think we should build a clear personal and organizational identity. This is number one. to know what we do, what problems we are solving, and what perspective to bring. Second, we should use digital platforms strategically, like LinkedIn, online mastermind, podcasts, webinars, and live panels like yours. Third, we should contribute before we ask, so share knowledge, introduce people together, host conversation, and support each other's initiatives. This is very important. Develop strong communicational skill with clear English, cultural awareness. This is also very important. And active listening is very essential. And fifth out of six is the communities. Again, I must say this word. Communities are very important. So join ecosystems and communities between each other or among each other collaborating. And the last point which I would like to make is combine local strength with global reach. So stay rooted locally. In my example, Czech Republic. In your example, it's Bangladesh, for example, and or America. And local insights become powerful when they are shared internationally. So share what you got with others. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Professor David Smith, my next question for you. What risk comes with pursuing the intelligence age too aggressively?
Wow. There are risks. There's risk and there's real advantages. Doing this intelligently, and I hate to talk about intelligent edge and say doing it intelligently in my answer, but that's really true there. It helps create enormous advantages. But when pushed too hard, too fast, or without frameworks and guardrails, it introduces system, strategic, ethical, and security risk. And, there are several big categories of risk there and vulnerabilities there, and particularly governance failures as you try to do that. So, when you push the intelligence cycle faster than is necessary and faster than we as humans can comprehend, the risk of unattended consequences, of unattended conflict rises. I remember several years ago where Google had to turn off one of their AI systems because it started threatening employees to kill them. It began to do things where it was shutting down access so that humans could not manage it. And we see the same thing with your answer here. So it's over automation. It's the loss of some human insight and control. We talk about hallucination in our LLMs and our SLMs today. That can just literally go out of control. We see hijacking risk of the data there. And the vulnerabilities really multiply the more we automate, because risk into data breaches that aren't identified, the models you're trying to get hijacked, they can be manipulated. And we can see how autonomous systems can be weaponized. 2001 Space Odyssey, long time ago, but that is a place where this gets to be illustrated pretty well. And you see ethical and legal backlash, and you lose public trust. And it even can make it where it's hard for us to make decisions because we have misallocated too much to the model. We misallocate the resources. We can overspend on technology and underspend on people and ignore the foundational frameworks that are important here. And so it just comes back to our ability to pursue the intelligence edge is really essential, but pursuing it recklessly is dangerous. So, Dr.
Mhm.
Sharif, hard question, but I think that's my answer.
Mhm. Thank you, Professor David. Thank you, Chris, for joining today's sessions. We are discussing about the intelligence is and how your corporations eye beyond helping different countries in Asia and in Europe and in Africa. So also we are discussing about the investment opportunity for this kind of technology. So what's your thoughts? What will be the benefit for the investors when they invest this kind of corporations and country like Bangladesh, India, or Middle East, or Malaysia, or we have a representative from Czech Republic. How does it work? How will
Hi,
it bring
Yuri.
benefit?
How are you? Hi, David. How you doing? Well, it's very interesting. I mean, right now we're in the AI explosion, the data explosion. IBeyond is the data infrastructure, and I think with the Technopolis strategy, with the mini mesh AI data center strategies that we have, with our strategies to upgrade government legacy systems and connect them with our intelligent interoperability system. IBeyond is like the Palantir 2.0. We're at that next level of connectivity and intelligence. As we say, artificial intelligence without data intelligence is a bankrupt proposition. So for investors, if they want to position their money in IBeyond, it's a play that's very strategic, because if we do dip into a global recession, guess what? Government contracting is the best place to put your money. So with IBeyond, we're focused on being the world's first government operating system.
Mhm.
And so I think that's where, the dollars are. I think it's a very interesting play. We signed a major deal with Manai Corporation in the MENA region and for India to help Qatar with their 2030 vision. So, and I think the big money is in the, again, upgrading legacy systems, number one. Two, it's in the mini mesh AI innovation strategies, because these big data centers are extremely
Mhm.
costive. They're tapping a lot of energy from the national grids. And I think also the Technopolis, which is the next level smart cities, bringing more safer, secure communities, is the play. So I think that it's important for investors to invest in momentum, because you have to be a momentum player if you want to make money.
Yeah, excellent. We are observing this news, specifically what we discuss about this MENA and this region heavily investing in AI. And what your experience when you say about investment collaborations with MENA, IBeyond and MENA form strategic partnership to accelerate digital transformation across MENA and India. So definitely Bangladesh also part of this South Asia. So, what's your thoughts and what's your experience actually from the different culture?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are it's very timely. I mean, you've got a lot of people coming in, and I think that, look, at the end of the day, people don't want to have a legacy approach. They want a new bleeding edge vision approach. And I think with David Smith, who's one of the top scientists and technologists in the world, and it's amazing what he's done for the US government, having the pedigree of guys like David and Lanny Cohen, who was the former chairman and CEO of Capgemini, global CTO. He built 22 innovation centers around the world with Capgemini for governments. This is the type of team timing and technology that governments need to make sure they stay on the bleeding edge of innovation and technology. My experience is that I think that these, the governments are feeling that the big data centers, they've got to be cautious right now, with these big data centers. Also, you've got new technologies coming out. You've got quantum now moving in quickly. You've got photonics and photon chips, that, there's concerns on the GPU, the CPU, the TPU, all these different chips about the next level. So when IBeyond comes in to build our strategies, we're not only preparing these countries for today, but we're preparing these countries for tomorrow,
Mhm.
because technology is moving so quickly that, for them to have the IBeyond intelligent interoperability, world's first government operating system, I think we're keeping them on the bleeding edge. And I think that's my experience. These governments want the best of the best. They don't want more legacy infrastructure. They want the new cutting edge bleeding technologies that are going to lead them with innovation, not lead them with legacy into the future.
Excellent. Here is the question: how will the definitions of the intelligence is change over next 10 years? How your company play major roles for changing this world next 10
Yeah,
years?
well, a good example is the Mini Mesh AI Edge of Cloud data centers. We're taking data right at the edge, because what do governments want? What do multinationals want? They want real-time, meaningful data, right? So think about that strategy alone. We're taking data at the edge. How do I think it's going to change over the years? I just think, like David said, the new age after the shoe drops of artificial intelligence is about speed of innovation. I think that's where iBeyond is a game changer. We're actually focused on speed of innovation, not only, on the data side, on the edge side. I think iBeyond X, we're acquisition vehicle that's underneath. We're right now buying about $500 million of current ARR of strategic companies that fit into our strategies. Some of the latest and greatest energy and quantum companies. And it's super exciting what we're doing, that we're going to fit into our iBeyond strategy. So we're buying a lot of horizontal and vertical components to build out our government operating system. But how I think things will change is speed of innovation.
Yeah, excellent. Jiri, as you are running this startup ecosystem, how like iBeyond will be helpful for your Czech Republic, for your country, and for your business network?
First of all, I believe this is very good to sit down over a good lunch and discuss in a friendly way the future cooperation. If not, at least Google Meet or Zoom would do.
Yes.
So let's meet together, guys. I believe that I would like to follow up on what Chris said. For myself, I will be very brief. This is about running an intelligence platform. I would like to have it within 10 years. And in this platform, the communities, again, I'm repeating my word, communities are very important core asset. Using AI, which would work for me but not replacing me, I would like to stay human. And last, I would like to operate globally, but bring something local to the table. So this is what I would like to my strategic intelligence future look like. Thank you, guys.
Well, Yuri, I think we can help you with that vision and to make it a reality. And we're excited to. I'd love to sit down and break bread with you. That's my Italian roots as well. Sharif, I just wanted to join quickly and say hello. I do have a Zoom scheduled, but I'd love to catch up with you later today. But and David, it's great seeing you. David has been fantastic, and we've worked together since 2012. And love David, and David will catch up later as well. But thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate it. And we're excited to talk about all the innovations and the amazing technology of iBeyond. And Dr. Sharif, thank you, because you do amazing, important work with social impact. And congratulations with your new role too, that you had announced
Thank you.
a few days
Thank
ago.
you.
And but it's terrific working with you, Sharif. We love your energy, we love your positivity, and let's all make $1 and a difference together. Take care.
Thank you. Yeah, Professor David Smith. So, what's your thought like? If how will the definitions of the intelligence is change over the next 10 years, and what will be your closing remarks for today's sessions?
To me, based on the current trends we see in AI, in governance, in platforms, and the various systems, the intelligence edge is going to shift in some major ways. It's going to go from intelligence at the center. We're going now to intelligence at the edge. It's going to shift to intelligence everywhere. So we're going to see intelligence embedded in almost every device, every workflow, in every environment. So a decade from now, every object becomes a sensor, every system becomes adaptive, and our environment becomes context aware. We're going to move from human assisted AI, which is where we are today, to AI assisted humans. And AI is going to become our digital colleague. And decision making becomes a human machine interaction, and intelligence becomes a shared cognitive layer that we have. Uh, we're going to go from centralized platforms to autonomous agents. And we're seeing that as we see automation hit in vehicles and others. We're going to see swarms of specialized agents and to dynamic self-optimizing processes. And we're going to see where we're moving from a chipped and computerized advantage to a governance advantage. And organizations and countries with strong governance will outperform those who just have the technology. And ethical AI becomes a source of geopolitical leverage. And intelligence edge becomes the governance edge. And we're going to go to not just speed and predictions, but meaning and context. And it's about deeper understanding and being more adaptable. And it's just kind of put it together. It's going to mean making decisions at the source of data. And it's going to be us creating a distributed, autonomous human AI cognitive ecosystem. So what we need to do is we need to put together, particularly for the smaller countries and companies, a 10-year intelligent edge roadmap and look at how we can use that to move forward, because the possibilities are very open and very endless. So thank you, Dr. Sharif.
Thank you. Mr. Jiri, what's your thought about how will the definitions of intelligence is change over the next 10 years, and what's your closing remarks? Can you unmute, please?
Sorry. Thank you guys for being here today, for my opportunity to be here with you today. It was very good. I'm looking forward to the next session, and I will I will let myself surprised, because we cannot expect, when we extrapolate back 10 years, like we look back 10 years ago, what has happening. This wasn't here. AI was here, but it wasn't publicly known. So I'm very, very curious what will happen in 10 years, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. This is very interesting discussions, and we are organizing these sessions because we want to educate our communities through this process. We want to create an impact through this process. We want to go for definitely making impact through social media, through this all of the network. So hopefully through this process, all of the young people, all of the corporation, the government agency, not only from Western world, also from this developing nations, we can learn and we can collaborate together and we can grow together. Thank you, Mr. Jiri, for joining today's session, and thank you, Professor David Smith, for your excellent contribution for World Talent Economic Forum. So we have a very, very special conference this coming 30 and 31st. Definitely it will go as an academic conference. It will go like we will publishing research paper, but people has to know how David Smith actually write all of the intellectual content like white papers and all of the things, which is very, very important for industry, which is very, very important for academia. And through this process, we can make a very, very meaningful contributions, and we can uplift the communities. And I request all of our audience, please share our content as much as possible with the government agency, corporation, and academia. Thank you. Bye-bye and take care.